Just coming my way wherever I go. Hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.
The Grimm Life Collective coming to you live. Well, not really live. It's pre-recorded from Hollywood, California, with the great Richard Elfman, director of one of my favorite movies, The Forbidden Zone. Like, I love this movie, just so you know.
Well, we got another one coming out called Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks.
All right.
To watch out for, please.
So,
Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks.
Is there any kind of link or anything that I can share with the people who are watching?
Just Richard Elfman absurdity, Danny Elfman music.
There you go.
And a lot of craziness.
So we do this thing called the Grimm-Interview. And basically, it's one question. In your career, do you have a story that's like a wow factor? Like you cannot believe this is happening. Now I asked you this earlier when we talked, and you gave one, so I have to change it up a little bit. Can you give me 3?
Well, 2 felonies. Felony extortion, where we had to get a crew paid, so we took some stuff and got the crew paid. Charges were dropped ultimately. It cost me $5 grand with a good attorney. And then felony grand theft was a good one. I'm a columnist, and I write food and wine reviews.
Okay.
So I'm working for some yuppie West Side publication, and it's a story on the food at the best bars and restaurants working my way down the coast.
All right.
So I did a lot of research on this. So I write the thing up, the publisher goes to some meditation conference in Hawaii, comes back with some lady, do you mind if she edits your work? Well, an editor will make me seem the better writer. What has she edited before? She has a natural sense of how to do it. She hadn't edited anything before. So she's kind of a celibate vegetarian, doesn't drink. Rewrote my first paragraph. I said, just don't publish it. Fine. Ran into him a week ago, and I go like, hey, Tom, what's the deal? And he said, well, I've kind of found the light at this conference, and I find your whole lifestyle disgusting.
To you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it hurt me, and I couldn't sleep all night. And then I rewrote the article a bit saltier. Okay, not meaning to offend anyone, but leaving Michael's restaurant after just a few hors d'oeuvres is like pulling your dick out of a tight, wet pussy. So I wrote it a little bit saltier. Okay, then I had it, I had it printed. It was like an 11 by 17 monthly magazine on similar paper, but slightly smaller. So the issue's all in the warehouse, ready to go to the newsstands. And so I broke in. They took a moving van, and I had it all photographed for the LA Weekly, and I had a lawyer stationed down the street out of courtesy to my staff. And we took 50,000 copies of the magazine. But this like fills a moving van. And then I left a note on the wall that the magazine had been requisitioned by the LA restaurant critics, Gorilla Underground. Okay, so we took it to one of those places where they put inserts into newspapers and had it inserted in different places. And then I had it distributed to newsstands. They didn't know. Like no one read the note. It was like, here's the warehouse filled with all the magazines. They're gone the next day. Well, they went, I guess Joe sent them to the distributor. So he's having his launch party, and my lawyer's telling me to stay underground, so I put a disguise on. I couldn't resist. And I've got photographers from the LA Weekly there. I'd actually talked with the guy, and then the shit hits the fan. Okay, so I'm charged with felony grand theft. He had a bunch of cable shows with my material that I never signed releases for. I got a temporary restraining order, shut his cable show, the charges were dropped. It ran in the newspapers called Grand Theft Auto. His circulation went through the roof. A month or 2 later, that other editor was fired. I was rehired. We're friends to this day. Well, that's 2.
That's 2. Before you get to the 3rd one.
the LA restaurant critics Gorilla Underground. How do you like that one?
I'm trying to picture. You said you had put on a disguise at some point.
Yeah, I tried it on my parents. They didn't know it was me. It works. Now, here's the key to a disguise. Aside from changing your hairline, broadening your nostrils, a mustache, putting something here to make your jaw look different, the key is changing your posture and the way you talk. Like, you can look at a shadow and tell if someone's Asian, African, whatever, a bit, by the way the head moves on the neck and the rhythm. So if you change that and the other stuff, and so I spoke with the publisher just for a minute. I didn't press it, but he didn't recognize me. And my lawyer was going crazy.
That's
because
hilarious.
he said, don't get arrested till the charge is dropped.
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. I've had two problems in life. Is I have no fear, or not much fear of death or arrest, particularly if I have a drink. So I've had some adventures.
We were talking that I've actually never been arrested or been in trouble with the law, and I always felt that if that were to happen, it should be because of my art or something that I've created.
Yeah, the felonies were totally art-related, not about personal profit.
There you go.
And it was really, one was just to help a crew get paid, and the other one was just too much damn fun.
So now, what's the third one?
God, where do I start?
It's just trying to pick one.
Okay, here's a good one. So, kind of like that film Argo. It was just before the Shah went down in Iran. I'm in a French theater company. The Shah has unlimited budget for the greatest theater festival in the world, hires Peter Brook from the Royal Shakespeare Company, who's the executive producer of the theater group that I'm in Paris. So it's like first class tickets to Tehran. And so the director of the group brought half the French press. You know, we need a bunch of passes. And so they asked me to put on like some street thing. I do like percussion and street theater and burlesque. It caused a riot. It was like throwing a cigar in a monkey cage or something. Like those boys were hard up. Like if you took some like guy on a oil rig, and where he couldn't see a woman for a year and couldn't jack off or anything, and then suddenly you take him to a burlesque show. It was like that kind of insanity. And by the way, I met marvelous people in Iran, but there's a crazy element too. So it was batons are busting heads, and the French press is going crazy. And anyway, when we came back to Paris, our show sold out for a year. One of many stories, let's say.
Years ago.
By the way, it's terrible to say, but baton on a human head sounds like a coconut. It's actually terrible. It's not that different than Curly and the Three Stooges, but you never want to see it in real life. You never want to see it in real life.
I'm just like, I got these two mental images in my head of you in a disguise and batons and coconuts and heads, and it's just constantly going because I know that you're a percussionist. You've been playing for a long time.
Since I was 15.
Since 15, and wow, I've seen videos of you
By the way,
play.
my next film is Haitian voodoo, horror, blood, and horror burlesque. But a lot of rhythm's going to be in it.
Like, everything that you just said sounds amazing.
Yeah. We're going to shoot it in a couple of months. We're just polishing up the script right now.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, my brother and I are going to play in the, percussion together in it.
Do you Forbidden Zone? Making Forbidden Zone. Do you have a moment during that movie that you had a wow moment for that?
Well, losing my house. We're way past the statute of limitations. Giving a coke-addled bank by president $5,000 in the bathroom of the Playboy Club to pay the crew. Nothing much interesting.
Years ago, I reached out to you on social media, and I asked you if I could do a Grimm interview with you. And you said, someday, I got such crazy stories to tell you. And
Oh, you haven't heard any juicy ones. I'm happily married with a young daughter, so we'll save those until maybe my daughter's 18.
fair enough, fair enough. I want to say thank you for sitting and talking with us and hanging out tonight.
My pleasure.
Richard Elfman.
Wherever I come, bad luck is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.